don't like this video, and don't subscribe, and don't unlike it or thumbs it down. Don't thumbs it up either, Doug. And don't click the bell icon or anything in that. In fact, just turn the video off and go watch something else. Unless you want to learn about truss rods. What's going on, folks? Welcome back. Thank you for keeping it here. The ones of you that have kept it here through all the crap that we went through here the past year. If you're new here, you can go back and check my latest videos and find out what happened. Most of you already know. Truss rods. I'm going to talk about truss rods. I got a few of them out here so I can explain better to you. First, let me say you should never, under any circumstances, tighten your truss rod under string stress. If you have to tighten that rod up, loosen the strings first. There's big channels on here that will tell you it's okay to tighten under string stress if you do it in small increments. Well, no, it's not okay ever to do it, man, unless you know how to take it out and put a new rod in. A guy came here one time, that's 2 or 3 years ago, and I looked at his guitar. I said, the only thing I can see you really need to do is tighten the truss rod up. You could hear it rattling in the guitar. So he gave me a reach. He said, I'll do it. And I told him, I said, you know, be careful, man. When's it been adjusted last? He didn't know. I said, don't. And he put the wrench on it and cracked this, you know, barely bumped a little bit, twisted the head off of it, man. Then he had to leave the guitar here, and I had to put a new rod, a truss rod in. I got videos of that job. I forget what kind of guitar it was. Anyways, never tighten under string stress. Just don't do it. And you'll be a much happier camper. Sorry about that. Me and little cue ball still batching it. And when she has to go outside, she got very little time. You got to let her out quick. Okay, back to the truss rods. Yeah, like I say, never tighten them under string stress. You should never do it. Always loosen the strings if you have to tighten it. And always loosen the truss rod first before you tighten it. That's a good habit to get into right there. Remember that. I get asked a lot, how can I tell if my guitar's got a one-way or two-way rod in it? Well, the way you can tell is start screwing the adjusting nut off counterclockwise, and it'll screw right off in your hand. You can hold it in your hand. I've showed that before with this neck right here. This has got a one-way rod, and you can screw the nut right off. Yours will do the same thing. If you're screwing it off and it starts to get tight again, then you probably got a two-way rod. I've got some out here. In fact, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you and bring you over here and explain to you how these two-way, well, explain how the one-way rod works also. So come on over. Let's get into this thing. Alright, I got 3 of them out here. How does truss rods work, might you ask? Start with an old one-way rod. You see how it's bent? Can you see how it's not round or flat? This end of the rod, hopefully you can see that. You lay it in there this way. Sometimes even the channel is curved. And then you have this one has a washer on this end of it. Okay, that's an awful small washer. Should be bigger than that. That's laying in your fretboard. This end pulls up against the wood, and this adjuster shoves this washer against the wood on this end. Okay, and when you start forcing tightness into it, that causes it to pull. You know, it's pulling this way on that end, and this way on this end. And that pulling causes the rod to go straight, to straighten out. And by doing that, it pulls your neck back, if it works right. That's all you can do with a one-way rod. I mean, that's the way they work. You know, the stress level here and the stress level here are the key factors that makes this thing adjust your neck relief. Now these are totally different. I got a straight edge here so I can show you. You can see how flat that is with the straight edge. Hopefully you can see it. It's flat. Take my word for it, it's flat. I think it's a 5mm. I've got one right here. Hopefully that's it. Put him in there and turn him. Not too much, but enough. And you'll see it's no longer flat with the straight edge. In fact, if I hold it down at this end, you can see it's way off from the straight edge. That would adjust your neck back. If you needed more relief and you got a two-way rod, then you loosen it, and when it starts to get tight again, keep on turning that puppy. I should be holding these with pliers or something. Now you see now, it's bent the opposite direction from the straight edge. Tightening it, you know, you have to lay this in your channel in a way that so when you tighten this clockwise, it puts back bow in the neck, and when you start to loosen it, you start to get relief. Or forward bow, I call it. I've heard it called all kind of stuff. I gotta get something to hold this with. I'll hold on to it and turn it. This is just a longer scale. For a longer scale, you see the difference in the lengths of these. Hold them together up there, and you can see how much longer the one is than the other one. For a longer scale, longer neck, bass. That's probably for an electric bass, way too long for a guitar. You can get them in different lengths though. These are obviously store-bought ones. I don't remember where I did get them from, probably Stu Mac. But that's pretty much all there is to truss rods. I can't find anything, man. Y'all ever try String Joy strings? These were $14.90 for the pack. I'm going to try them. I haven't tried them yet. I've heard some good stuff about these, so I thought, you know, give them a whirl. Anyways, that's the way truss rods work. You lay it. These have got a flat surface here. I usually put that in, well, I almost always put it in with this flat surface facing up, so the fretboard can lay flat on that. You want it to fit tight in the channel. And I always used a little bit of caulking in there too. It's like I was telling you, the guy who had that guitar here at that time, you could shake the guitar and hear the truss rod rattling in there. And if you just fill that with caulk, it's not going to hurt anything. It's easy to clean up when you take it apart. It's not going to get in your threads. As you can see, they're all taped up. The part that actually turns is down inside of there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe if I put a wrench on it, you could see it better. See, the part that turns, this outside does not turn on these. There's all different ones though, different kinds. Alright, hold on. Now if you can see here, a two-way rod, you'll feel a neutral zone there. As I tighten it, I feel it there starting to tighten up. Neutral area, straight, and I feel it right there starting to tighten for the back bow. Actually, that'd be the relief. That would put back bow in it. But you see, this outside part, nothing here moves or turns. What turns is down inside of there. And it's actually two rods. A two-way adjustable truss rod has two rods. And they're either welded together or made together on one end, and you got the adjustment on the other. Help your truss rod. I've got videos showing you how to do that. You search this channel for helping your truss rod and they'll come up. If you just like a wee little bit more and you can't get it out of the truss rod, help it, man. Watch those videos and learn how to force the neck in the direction you want it to go and use the truss rod. And I've had a lot of success doing that a lot of times when the truss rod just wouldn't do it at all. Tang width. If you ever work on frets, if you're going to pull frets out, you should tighten the rod up, put back bow into it. That pulls your fret slots wider. And if you still need even more back bow, you can get wider fret tangs. They make the tangs all different sizes. Get a little bit wider than what you got in there, and 22 frets, 24, 20, however many it's got, that will force even more back bow into the neck. All these little tricks you can do, man, to help get more, a little bit more. Sometimes it just takes a tiny little bit more, man. Or if you need forward bow, all this stuff I'm telling you works, to get forward bow, relief, or whatever you want to call it, where you live. The strings, that's another thing. People will argue they vibrate up and down. They don't vibrate up and down. They vibrate in an elliptic pattern, if I can say it, which is, the energy works from the center to both ends of the string and back to center again. And it oscillates back and forth in the energy until it dies out. The string dies out, stops ringing, in other words. That's where you need the relief. Some people can play on a flat neck, though. Really like touch people. I always tell people too, if you're going to screw with this, get a tool that fits the first time, man. If it goes in there and you can turn it but it don't fit just right, don't use that tool. Get a tool that actually fits snug, tight, perfectly. Always get a tool, use a tool that fits. Put a drop of oil on it. Drop a little drop of oil down in there now and then. Don't do it very often. One drop, that's all you need for that. I got notes here because I can't remember too good. You all know about those problems. So, yeah. All those things, man. The fret tang, you can adjust your neck that way. You can adjust it by clamping it. I'm talking about if you need just a tiny bit more of whatever you need. All these things together maybe will get you, what you need, or what your guitar needs to be perfect. Two-way rods, I think, is where it's at. If you have to adjust force relief into it, usually you don't have to. The strings pull it in there. I had a bass here one time. Couldn't get enough relief in it. It was an electric bass. And I clamped it up that way and done it, but I was just almost to the point of pulling the frets out and put new frets in it with a narrower tang, so I could get some relief in the thing. But I finally got it fixed. Anyways, I hope this stuff helps somebody out there with their guitar or their banjos or whatever you're working on. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for keeping it here. I'll see you next time.